They were created for athletes. A simple formula: water, salt, and sugar, to keep the body going under brutal heat and exhaustion. But that was then. Fast forward to today, and sports drinks are no longer the same. What once fueled players on the field has been twisted into a billion-dollar industry.
It's not true. Tell me it's not true.
It's true.
Loaded with hidden sugars, artificial dyes, and chemicals your body doesn't need.
University of the Pacific study finds that they can alter the heart's electrical activity and raise blood pressure. Researchers say people who take certain medications could be at an increased risk.
Many of them suffering serious nervous system and heart symptoms.
Most energy drinks typically contain large amounts of caffeine, sugar, and legal stimulants.
As we're learning more about drink, we are becoming much more aware about several reports of patients who experience pretty serious side effects in the form of stroke or even heart attack.
So here's the question. Are you drinking fuel, or are you sipping poison disguised in neon colors? It all started in 1965 on the sweltering football fields of Florida. Players on the University of Florida Gators were collapsing from dehydration in the brutal heat. Their coaches called in scientists, who mixed up a simple solution: water, electrolytes, and a little sugar. The result? The first batch of Gatorade. It wasn't sweet, it wasn't flashy. It was medicine in a jug, and it worked.
Right now, your body's thirsty for more than water.
You're working your body till you can't do more. Gatorade is thirsty for that deep down body thirst.
When you exercise, you lose potassium, fluids, minerals. Gatorade helps put them back fast. It's no ordinary thirst quencher.
The Gators went from dragging in the heat to dominating the field. Word spread, and suddenly sports drinks were seen as liquid gold.
The legend was born in 1965 in the storied swamp of Florida, and as befits a legend, it began with a searing question.
Coach asked why we didn't go during the game.
The players weren't adequately hydrated and their performance suffered. Naturally, we called our stuff Gatorade.
Those boys drank that stuff and they became a second-half team. I saw it with my own two eyes.
In 1967, when the Gators won their first Orange Bowl, Gatorade had arrived.
Today, Gatorade is the most researched sports drink in the world.
And it continues to fuel champions wherever they're found. Humbly born on the hard-scrabbled gridirons of Florida, proven by generations of athletes. And just as the games never end, so the legend continues.
The original purpose was clear. Replace lost fluids and electrolytes during extreme physical exertion. No dyes, no artificial flavors, no marketing, just function. But once big companies saw the profits, the formula started to change. Sweeteners, neon colors, and heavy advertising transformed what began as a medical tool into a sugary lifestyle drink. So what started as a lifeline for exhausted athletes turned into a trap for everyday people. Because here's the truth. Most of us aren't sweating like pro football players, but we're still drinking like we are. By the 1980s, Gatorade wasn't just on the football field, it was everywhere. Endorsements from superstar athletes, neon-colored bottles, and slogans like "Is it in you?" convinced the world that sports drinks were essential for performance. But here's the twist. The formula wasn't the same. What started as a practical mix of electrolytes and sugar for extreme conditions became sweeter, flashier, and more addictive. By the 1990s, these drinks were practically liquid candy, with some bottles packing as much sugar as a can of soda.
Sometimes I dream that he is me. You got to see that's how I dream to be.
I dream I move, I dream I groove. Like Mike, if I could be like Mike.
Oh, if I could be like Mike.
Like Mike, if I could be like Mike. If I could be like Mike.
One 20-ounce sports drink today can contain 34 grams of sugar. That's nearly 9 teaspoons in a single bottle. And unless you're running marathons or sweating buckets in extreme heat, your body doesn't need the electrolytes either. For the average person, it's just excess sugar, artificial dyes, and empty calories. So what used to fuel champions on the field is now fueling something else. Obesity, diabetes, and addiction to sugar. And the wildest part? The very thing that once saved athletes is quietly destroying everyday health. Ever wonder why sports drinks look like liquid highlighters? That electric blue, radioactive orange, or neon green isn't natural. It's a chemical cocktail. The original Gatorade was cloudy, bland, and frankly unappetizing. But once the marketing machine got rolling, the drinks had to look exciting. Enter artificial dyes, preservatives, and lab-made electrolytes. Suddenly, you weren't just drinking sugar water. You were drinking a science experiment. Those bright colors come from artificial dyes like Red 40 and Yellow 5.
Sidney Crosby isn't just a great hockey player, he's a pretty good salesman too. Driven by the marketing of brands such as Gatorade, Canadians guzzle $450 million worth of sports drinks every year. The companies say their drinks boost performance by replacing electrolytes and sugars lost when working out. Sure, athletes such as Crosby may need them, but do we?
Which have been linked to hyperactivity in children and possible long-term health effects. Add in brominated vegetable oil, used in some drinks to stabilize flavoring, that's also an industrial flame retardant. And suddenly that refreshing sip doesn't sound so refreshing. The electrolytes, often synthetic, they don't even make a difference unless you've been sweating for hours. So while you thought you were rehydrating, what you were really doing was swallowing a rainbow of chemicals. The glow wasn't the power of health. It was the glow of marketing, tricking your brain into thirsting for more. Here's where the story gets darker. Companies like PepsiCo, which owns Gatorade, and Coca-Cola, which launched Powerade, saw an opening. Why stop at athletes when you could sell to everyone? They plastered commercials with NBA stars, Olympic champions, and Super Bowl heroes, all sweating under bright lights, guzzling neon bottles like liquid gold. The message was simple. If you want to perform like a pro, you need this drink. But here's the kicker. Most of their customers weren't athletes. They were kids, teenagers, and office workers who didn't need electrolytes at all. By the 2000s, sports drinks were stocked in vending machines at schools, marketed as a healthier alternative to soda. In reality, many had just as much sugar, sometimes more.
A history of winning started with the 65 Gators, losing steam, losing sweat.
We've identified the problem. What is the solution?
A drink scientifically designed to hydrate better than water, so they could sweat more, win more, and change the game forever.
Bing, bop, boom, 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 bop, bam. Naturally, we called our stuff Gatorade.
One 20-ounce bottle of Gatorade packs about 140 calories and 34 grams of sugar. That's nearly identical to a Coke. But thanks to billion-dollar marketing campaigns, parents were convinced they were giving their kids healthy fuel instead of junk. PepsiCo's Gatorade alone now generates over $20 billion a year, and Coca-Cola's Powerade isn't far behind. Not from elite athletes, but from everyday consumers tricked into thinking they need them. So when you see that Gatorade logo splashed across an NFL game, remember this. It was never really about athletes. It was about you, about convincing the average person to buy a product their body didn't need. The truth? The same companies that sell you soda in one aisle sell you sports drinks in another, just with a shinier label.
The University of Florida study from 1990 divided a high school football team into two groups and had each group run 40-yard sprints. Between sprints, one group drank Gatorade, while the other drank sweetened and colored water. The study found no difference in performance between the two groups. Once again, the mixture of sugar and electrolytes found in Gatorade might help people who are engaged in high-endurance activities, but it's not likely to be any better for you than water on the hydration front.
Let's connect the dots. Sports drinks started as a simple lifeline. Water, electrolytes, and a dash of sugar for athletes collapsing under brutal heat. But over time, PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, and others twisted that formula into something unrecognizable. They added more sugar, synthetic dyes, preservatives, and chemicals, then blasted the world with marketing so powerful, we started to believe these drinks were healthy. The result? A so-called performance booster that for most people does nothing but spike blood sugar, add empty calories, and trick the brain with artificial flavors. Today, sports drinks are a $30+ billion global industry. Yet studies show that unless you're sweating heavily for over an hour, you don't need them. Water works better. Real food replenishes electrolytes naturally. The supposed health benefits? Mostly a mirage created by clever marketing. So here's the wake-up call. The bottle in your hand isn't fuel. It's a rebranded soda dressed in sports gear. The only thing it's really fueling is corporate profit. The question isn't whether you need a sports drink. The question is, how long will you keep drinking the lie?